What's up, boopers? This will be the first of many Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn guide videos explaining the game mechanics, systems, classes, etc. As a disclaimer, if you're the sort that likes to figure stuff out by yourselves and go in blind, you might want to close this now. So let's get started on an explanation of the classes and races. First, let's go over choosing your race and your god, as these have an effect on the stats of your character. So if you know what class you want to choose and don't care about appearance, you'll want to optimize this. There are 5 races in Final Fantasy XIV, and each race has 2 sub-races, ultimately resulting in 10 different races. Each race has the same amount of stats, they're just allocated differently, as you can see by this list here. For the stats themselves, strength increases melee attack power and the percentage of damage mitigated by block and parry. Dexterity increases ranged attack power and the chance of blocking or parrying an attack. Vitality increases maximum HP. Intelligence increases attack spell damage. Mind increases healing magic power, and piety increases maximum mana. So as you can see from this chart, a Hior Highlander starts with the most strength, an Elysian Wildwood with the most dexterity, a Rogadin Seawolf with the most vitality, an Elysian Duskvite with the most intelligence, a Miquote Keeper of the Moon with the most mind, and Lalafell Dunesfolk with the most piety. Keep in mind that the differences are not game-breaking and only matter if you are a min-maxer. Some of these races do not have the highest stats, but a better balance than the other races. Another choice that will affect your gameplay is the god that you choose at the start, but these effects are very minor and you can see the stats that they give you as you are making your character, so I won't go into these. Now let's move on to the main focus of this guide, choosing your class. Now in Final Fantasy XIV on launch, there will be 8 classes and 9 jobs. And I'll get into those jobs later, but first let's go over the classes. Of the 8 classes, the 2 tanks are Marauder and Gladiator. Then the melee DPS is Puglist and Lancer. For ranged DPS, there's Archer and Thaumaturge. And as for healers, we'll have Conjurer, and it seems Arcanist is meant to be a healer of sorts, though all the info on them isn't fully released. Now, in Final Fantasy XIV, you can change your class as much as you want, so your initial class choice will only affect your starting location. I want you to keep this in mind if playing with friends, because you are stuck in your starting location until you either reach level 15 or do a ridiculously tedious run across the world and miss out on your story and initial class quests. Marauder and Arcanist will start in Limsa Lominsa. Archer, Conjurer, and Lancer start in Gridania, and lastly, Puglist, Thaumaturge, and Gladiator start their journey in Uldur. Once you've picked your class, you are locked to that class until you reach level 10. Upon reaching level 10 and completing your class guild's level 1, 5, and level 10 quests, you will be given permission to join other guilds. This includes profession guilds, but I won't go over those in this video. To join other guilds, simply go to their guild house and talk to the guild register, who is usually behind the counter. He will ask if you want to become a member. Say yes, and you'll be given a weapon to activate that class. To now switch between the classes, you only need to change your weapon, and you can do this quickly by saving your gear sets and hotkeying them, allowing for instant gear change. However, swapping classes puts a cooldown on all of your skills. You'll also want to note that even if you hit level 10, you will not be able to join the other class guilds until you gain access to their major city by completing the level 15 story quest. For example, a level 10 gladiator that starts in Uldur cannot start leveling his Conjurer until he gets access to the Gridania city at level 15. There's 2 things to note about swapping classes. 1. The attribute points earned at level 10 and then every subsequent 2 levels are locked to that class, meaning you can spend all your points in Mind as your Conjurer and then put all your points in Dexterity as your Archer, and they will not be shared. 2. You can borrow skills from other classes as long as they have the correct affinity to that class. For example, the Conjurer spell Cure has affinity to all other classes. Thus, when you are playing as another class, you are able to borrow that conjurer spell. Picking the perfect classes to level so that you can get their affinity spells in a nice combination takes a bit of testing things out and allows for a lot of customization. As for the class acronyms on the affinity list, this is what each class acronym is here. Now, you'll notice on this list some of these acronyms are not any of the 8 classes I mentioned, but they are in fact jobs. So let's explain jobs for the last part of this video. As I said that you can be every and any class, you can also get any and every job, if you have the free time to grind that much. Jobs are basically superclasses. They are a combination of 2 classes and gain special skills but have very little affinities. To unlock a job, you must level its required main class to 30 and its subclass to 15. The jobs are as follows. Level 30 Puglist and a level 15 Lancer equals a monk. His affinities are Puglist, Lancer, and Archer skills. 30 Lancer and a 15 Puglist will get you Dragoon, and his affinities are Lancer, Puglist, and Archer skills. Level 15 Archer and a 15 Conjurer will get you Bard. His affinities are Archer, Conjurer, and Thaumaturge. A 30 Marauder and a 15 Gladiator will open up Warrior, whose affinities draw from Marauder, Gladiator, and Puglist. A 30 Gladiator and a 15 Conjurer make a Paladin, who pulls from Gladiator, Conjurer, and Marauder. For the casters, a 30 Conjurer and a 15 Gladiator unlocks White Mage, who pulls from Conjurer, Gladiator, and Puglist. And Black Mage comes from 30 Thaumaturge and 15 Puglist, and he gets his skills from Thaumaturge, Archer, and Puglist. Now the last 2 jobs are Summoner and Scholar, and they are unknown at the moment, but it can be assumed that they come from Arcanist. Scholar is guessed to be a heal over time style healer, while Summoner is thought to be a damage over time caster. To unlock these jobs, simply get the required class levels and head to the main class's guild. For example, if you wanted to be a Bard, you'd go to the Archer Guild. Once you do some quests, you will receive a Bard item, and equipping it will swap your class, just as unequipping it will return you back to an Archer. Now jobs level a bit differently than classes. They will match their base class's level. In the case of a Bard, it will level with Archer. However, Bard will only gain skills from doing Bard-specific quests. There is currently no limit to how many jobs you can have, but keep in mind jobs are not as versatile as classes. Though they are very good at what they specialize in, they don't have so many affinities with the other classes, and thus are not as flexible. And that's going to be it for my race, class, and job video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as quickly and as best as possible. And I'll try to get another video up soon to explain professions, grand companies, chocobos, guild levies, everything. So I'm booping out. Boop.